Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another broadcast. Today I want to talk about Marvel's Generations, the Iron #1, or more specifically, the Iron Man and Ironheart tale that serves to remind everyone that RiRi Williams isn't just the greatest hero on Earth. No, she's going to be one of the greatest heroes in the galaxy. Before I get into this review, I guess it's just sad that this comic and most of Generations, the books from what I hear, are exactly what everyone predicted they would be. Marvel's reiteration that its super selfie crew are here to stay as long as Axel Alonso has his way. The issue begins with RiRi Williams waking up in a future timeline where Tony Stark is the Sorcerer Supreme. She briefly meets a future version of the Avengers before asking Tony what the heck is going on. He says in response to her realization that he, quote, fixed the world, and that it was a big we thing. He says, the vague and less complicated version is that we took all the money being earmarked for weapons and military and world peacekeeping and instead gave it to everyone working on a project that had futuristic possibilities. Tony then runs into the villain Morgan Le Fay and dispatches her with the Shard of Odin's daughter, whatever the heck that is. When Le Fay says she underestimates Tony, he says, if I had a nickel for every woman who has told me that, no, wait, that made me sound, never mind. Because Tony wouldn't want to seem sexist to the woman who was at war with his, quote, regulated world peace. Question. Is it me, or does Bendis act like an Orwellian one-world government would be really cool if only the right people were in charge? RiRi seems totally in awe of the place and basically says she doesn't want to go home. You've got to peek behind the curtain, Tony says, and if this doesn't send you on an inventor's tear, then you're not the futurist everyone in the galaxy thinks you are. Wait, RiRi says, everyone in the galaxy? Oops, Tony says with a wry smile. RiRi is transported back to Chicago, where a crowd of people below start taking selfies. The end. So, here's the thing that stinks about this book. It's called The Iron, but the only one who is in the Iron Man armor is RiRi. Personally, I like the idea of Tony becoming interested in the mystic arts in the future, but Marvel build these books as a way of honoring the older generation and the new. As a longtime fan of Tony Stark, I wanted to see RiRi come across Tony in his prime and maybe learn something from a man in technically inferior armor. But no, we get Tony Stark as a 126-year-old shriveled shell, no pun intended, probably keeping himself together via his mastery of mystic arts. Long story short, Marvel was issuing empty platitudes when it promoted the book. The cover features Tony in classic armor that I grew up with, but on the inside, it's joked that he's Dr. Stranger because it's super strange that Iron Man is the Sorcerer Supreme. And we find out that RiRi is a household name across the galaxy. The book, in a vacuum, isn't bad, but the problem is that Tony fans are the ones who are being asked to fork over $4.99. For what? To be told by Bendis to get over it and deal with a future Tony who, quote, takes, i.e. steals, money from others to fix the world into his mystical police state. Marvel's activist writers want so badly to just kill off your favorite heroes, but they're opting for the death by 10,000 paper cuts method instead of all at once. They want the older fans to slowly bleed out so it doesn't draw too much attention, so when the industry finally hits rock bottom, they could pretend as if other factors were to blame. When Tony worries that he's going to be seen as a sexist by a Marvel supervillain, paper cut to the family jewels. When fans think they're going to get 1980s Iron Man only to find crusty old Tony at 126 years old, paper cut to the eyelid. When RiRi returns to Chicago and a crowd takes another round of selfies, paper cut to the corners of your lips. And if you complain, you're the bad guy. You're the one causing problems. You're the one who is out of line. And if you don't sit back and shut up and take your cuts with a smile, then prepare for the writers and their industry buddies to demonize you en masse. But here's the deal. You don't have to take it because you are the customer. You have a voice, and you have more power than you realize. So my advice to you is to sound off on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Periscope, and whatever other social media platforms you prefer, and let people know what's going on. If the industry is going to die because of activist writers, then let it be chronicled for all the world to see that they caused it. If the industry is going to survive, then let it be chronicled that you were the ones who demanded the bar be raised at a crucial moment in the industry's history. That's about it for now, but as always, I'd like to hear what you have to say. Sound off on Generations, The Iron #1, writer Brian Michael Bendis' decision to give fans elderly Mystic Tony instead of old Shellhead in his youth, and anything else related to Marvel's death by 10,000 paper cuts approach. And as always, if you've liked what you've seen here, then head on over to douglasernst.blog for more coverage just like this. See you next time.